But I think I found the candidate here. And last week, there's already a clip up of the pseudo-woke defense of the workplace abuse stuff. And Amy Klobuchar, the only good thing that could come out of this campaign is she gets primaried and tossed from the Senate. Here she is on a CNN town hall last week talking about free college.
So I graduated from college in 2017, and I currently pay roughly the equivalent of my rent in student loans every month. And, I have friends that graduated 6 figures in debt. Here in New Hampshire, students graduate on average with the highest average student loan debt in the nation.
36,000 or something like that.
It's absurd. And so I'd like to ask you, would you be willing to stand with my generation and end the student debt crisis by supporting free college for all? And would you include undocumented and formerly incarcerated people in that program?
Fuck yeah,
dude. And if you could please just preface your answer with a clear yes or no, I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, let me answer you first of all. I think we have to do everything to help our students afford college.
No.
My idea is to make it easier to refinance. To start with your 2-year degrees, the community colleges being free. That's something that President Obama was pushing. There's a reason I'll get to why I'm starting there instead of 4-year. So I want to answer that question first for you. And let you know that I also had student loans, and when I married my husband, he had tens of thousands of student loans to make you feel better, but I married him anyway, all right? Okay, so here's what we need to do. The first thing is we need to make it easier to afford college. And you need to do that by making it easier to refinance these loans, by extending Pell Grants, so it includes more students. Those are simply grants, right? So if you extend those Pell Grants, that's going to make it even easier because right now it's for a limited number of students, and I think we should expand it to more students. I think that we should do as much as we can with some of the other populations that you referred to. We've got to make it easier for people getting out of prison to afford going to school, you name it. But the other thing I want to talk about here is something, I know we're in a 4-year degree school, a great school, but you also have in Manchester a 2-year community college. And there's a lot of kids right now who are off the grid, right? They don't graduate from high school around the country, or they end up maybe barely graduating from high school. They accumulate debt in a 4-year college. Then they end up not being able to either finish that college, or they end up not being able to get a job that pays for it. So right now there are a big number of jobs that require certifications, 2-year degrees, everything from welding.
By this point in a debate, Donald Trump has, of course, been a misogynist and so on, but he's probably already lied about her position, falsely claimed that he supports free college himself, told a funny anecdote about his own college experience and how great his grades were.
We want the smartest people.
And this, this is the type of answer that see, this is the profound disservice that Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and actually in the UK, Tony Blair have done, because they have wrapped the most boring, piecemeal, either destructive or slightly positive but insufficient proposals in just unparalleled charisma personalities. When you try to spin this stuff out with zero charisma, as you'll see with someone like a Chuka Udoka or a Frank Fields or a Michael Bloomberg or a Terry McAuliffe, you are DOA. So anyway, I just want to say that. But I guess we'll continue torturing ourselves till the point, does she finally just say no after all of this bullshit?
To technology, to robotics, something big here in New Hampshire. I know Mr. Kamen with the Segway educated our whole country on robotics.
That's a very current
and
reference.
They require various degrees. So one of the things that I want to do is really have a big discussion in our country about what we do about kids that aren't graduating from high school, kids that don't get to the point of being at this great college, right? And how we get them into the certifications, the 2-year degrees, and make sure that we're paying for that because our economy needs that, and then go from there.
Because our economy needs that.
Because our economy needs it. And so just to be clear, she totally dismissed and disrespected this kid by not answering his question. But that was a long, convoluted, boring, dull, neoliberal invalidation of education that said, no, I do not.
And it implies the wrong argument that the reason that wages are low for most workers is because most people are not getting degree certifications. It misses the point that while college education can be a path to a good job, a lot of people are still being held down by student debt. And lastly, it really it pisses me off so much, because what it means is that for people who go to four-year colleges do have access to higher paid jobs, right? It's not a guarantee that you're going to get them, but it's an excuse that we make in this country that keeps poor people out of the contention for higher paid jobs because they cannot afford to go to four-year colleges and they're pushed into technical programs. It's wrong. It's morally wrong. It's economically incorrect. And it's just fucking bullshit. And and that's why we've seen the rise of a right wing, which is trying to dismantle this very boring slumber state that the neoliberals have been pushing for so long.
No, this is what it is, and it's this profound, and it's incredible, because it's actually this essentially that the state can exist and intervene in the service of programming humans to service capital, which is the ultimate end way of third way politics. And we see it in this just dead end, depressing, monotonous, unimaginative, catastrophic candidacy of Amy Klobuchar. And the best case scenario is this is a case study in a politics that needs to die.
And just real quick, just talk about something like coding. That's the big,
that's the big scam.
It's we're going to get the high school kids to code. The point of that is just to suppress the wages of people who are doing that code work, because the people who made all the money, coders early on in the technical revolution in the United States, all those people, their equivalent, are doing much different things at this time. They're managers, right? So it's talking about coding in and of itself is something that's going to create, opportunity for people. The only reason there's opportunity is because there's only a few people who could do it for a little bit of time.
And also Megan Day's done a lot of extensive reporting more broadly on how always the lie that employees aren't hiring because they just have these really highly trained jobs and they need a workforce that can meet them. But as soon as actually in the last couple of years there actually has been, obviously the raw unemployment rate we need to problematize and so on, but it has gone down enough where companies needed to actually basically be like, oh, those things 3 years ago that we were saying were completely non-negotiable, oh, it's totally out the window. And of course, we can hire people for, various jobs that we were terrorizing them out of to, as a discipline our own already beleaguered workforce, to pay them less and give them less benefits. So Amy Klobuchar has no answer to anything other than to make them worse. And I've been pretty bullish because I think structurally Trump is eminently beatable. And I think that, many candidates, including candidates that are, would be at the bottom of my list, like a Joe Biden, I think would just crush Donald Trump. I found the candidate that I think actually whoa, I don't know if that'll work. I found the Democratic candidate that I think Donald Trump takes re-election on. She needs to get out of the race and then be defeated. You just enjoyed that Michael Brooks Show video, and you can get a lot more by subscribing to us here at the Michael Brooks Show YouTube channel. It's literally right there.